introduce our esteemed panel here. We'll start at the far end. That's Peter Sobczynski. He is here he's a contributor with RogerEbert.com and eFilm Critic. And then next to him, Eric Childress, who's a writer at eFilm Critic.
That's just embarrassing. That's just embarrassing.
Yeah. I got more representatives here than anybody. Two.
All right. Next to him, Keith Phipps, editorial director at The Dissolve. And then Nathan Rabin, a staff writer at The Dissolve. And you guys should probably all recognize Richard Roper from Chicago Sun-Times. And this is our own Ryan Fujitani, who's one of the editors at Rotten Tomatoes.
AKA the Velvet Smog.
Yes. All right, so Gray, do you want to explain what's going to happen with this crazy
I'm dying to explain how this works. Fully interactive, you guys. This is 2014. We're not messing around, okay? So, our esteemed panel of critics are here to talk to you. So I'm going to stand here with the mic. We're going to get a nice organized line formed. Come up to the mic, talk about a movie that you either passionately love or passionately hate. It's up to you. We're not here to judge you. We're here to judge your taste. So what we're going to do is everybody, whenever somebody mentions what film that they're talking about, here at the mic, you guys get to vote. If it's fresh, or if it's rotten, I need you to make sure you understand which side of the sign you're using. Okay, it's very important. The one that faces out, it's important. And then, somebody up here is either going to agree, disagree, they're just going to talk. We're going to start a dialogue about movies, which is what we like to do at RottenTomatoes.com, am I right? Yes, the answer is yes.
And by dialogue, we mean argument.
It's like a William Castle movie.
Can everybody just hold up their rotten panel right now? Okay, this is me in reviewing Transcendence right now.
Well played, Mr. Roper. Well played. And so there's one more thing that I didn't mention. You get a time limit. So I'm going to be here with my trusty phone, which someone very kindly pointed out to me was a Galaxy. Yeah, it's Android. And you get a minute to make your initial argument, okay? Keep that in mind. Rebuttal. Critics don't get a time limit, y'all. They're critics, okay? So that's what we do. So then, the final word lies with you, young Jedis. 30 seconds for your final rebuttals, okay? And I just need to point out that there's a tiny little skull on my necklace. That was a guy that didn't listen to the rules at WonderCon, okay? Just want to be clear. So I think that wraps up how the Your Opinion Sucks panel is going to work. Thank you very much for coming.
All right, great. Where are you going to be for the?
I don't know. Where should I be?
All right.
I feel like this is so claustrophobic
So
but exciting.
if you have questions, if you have movies that you want to bring up and talk about, line up right where Gray is.
Who will be first?
Right there.
Andy has boldly stood in front of us to be the first person to speak at the Rotten Tomatoes Your Opinion Sucks panel. What movie are you going to speak about?
Perfect Getaway.
A Perfect Getaway. Yes. Who is in that movie?
Tim Oli Fantastic, Mila Jovovich, Steve Zahn, and
That's a vacation one. Okay, now that I know what you're talking about, was it fresh or rotten?
Fresh.
Everybody who saw Perfect Getaway, get your paddles up. We have like 7 people that have seen the movie. All right, it's getting mostly fresh. Make your argument. You got a minute.
Okay. I love this movie because it has you, the red herring is a big part of it. It makes you think one way and then it throws near the end. It has a big twist and I like the outcome of it, how the twist is shown and then how that's resolved.
Does this have anything to do with how you think Mila Jovovich looks in short shorts?
No.
It's fine if it does.
Actually, I like the other girl. The girl that was paired with Timothy Oliphant.
Kayla Sanchez.
Yeah, I like her. I believe that Mila played it as if she was a good girl.
Nah, she's not the good girl.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, a perfect getaway.
Before Peter on this
No, I agree. I mean, I really like Perfect Getaway a lot. I mean, it's like this, sort of like this classic sort of Hitchcockian thriller. And yes, you mentioned that it has like this sort of like, you know, big shocking reveal. But the great thing about the movie is, you know, once you got the big shocking reveal, it still works. And you actually watch it a second time, and the movie still holds up. And also, that Mila Jovovich is a promising young talent.
And she looks really good in a napkin, which we saw in the Resident Evil movies a lot.
I'm familiar with them.
Andy, you have 30-second rebuttal. Do you want to use it, or have you said what you're going to say?
I said what I'm going to say.
Yeah, just don't ever say Timothy Olyphantastic ever. That would be good. I agree with you though. I think it's a terrific movie, and part of the reason is because Timothy Olyphant has that quality where you believe him as a great leading man in something like The Justified Show, but he also has that that kind of thing where he could be the personification of evil. He can play both sides really well, I think.
And you actually led off with a film the rare film that I actually started like this and went to this when the separate viewings on cable. The first time I saw the film, I kind of guessed what the twist is very early on, and then when I guess the twist that early, I tend to get annoyed when the filmmaker is trying to, Shyamalan does that very unsuccessfully over and over again. But no, so I'm here in this.
Eric, do you think that you happen to like movies more when you're watching them on your couch in your jammies?
No. No.
Tough.
I'd rather see them in a movie theater.
It's a really good movie because it's that movie where you turn your mind off as soon as you walk in, because you know you're not going to get much. It's giant robots versus giant monsters. But then your mind clicks halfway through and you realize that you see like heaven on screen. And this husband was in there, Charlie Hunnam was shirtless, that's all. But also, it's the first movie that I've seen where every country has come together and haven't tried to kill each other, where they all work together. I mean, where else are you going to see the Japanese, Russians, and Australians together saving the world, basically?
Not in the UN.
No. And I think the story is really well told. Guillermo del Toro is a very, very good director. He deserves all the awards for this movie. And I personally think that it's the first sci-fi, well, not the first one, it's the first science fiction movie where I've never seen a romantic subplot. So, and fits it really, really well.
All right, Sarah, she hates romance, she loves robots.
Eric, I see you were here to go with it.
Yeah. As the resident Guillermo del Toro dissenter on this panel, I'm sure. Oh yeah.
All right, hang on. Security.
Hang on, I'm getting robbed. It's okay. No.
All right, wait, Eric, hold that thought for just a second.
Okay.
Get to the tomato.
Give everybody a chance to catch their breath.
The tomato meter on
It's like
this
70-some%.
is 72%,
There you go.
and it is certified fresh. I want to say, before you continue, that the first time I saw this movie, I actually really enjoyed it. And then the second time I saw it, I wasn't as enamored with it as I was the first time. But that sword scene, when that was what really got me there. And then, but I understand where you're coming from. I really like to hear what you have to say.
Okay. I mean, if you're a Guillermo del Toro fan, I recommend you see all the movies that he tends to steal from and see those first. But when a movie like that where you have giant robots, we're in the Transformers period where you have these giant, metal cans, punching each other, and we don't really, have any care for that. It would have been nice to have seen Guillermo del Toro, who, can be a master craftsman at times, take that concept and actually let you see what's happening with those action scenes. When I saw the movie at the press screening in 3D, I couldn't tell who was fighting who. It just looked like just like the Transformers movies. There was a lot of metal just clanking up against one another, and none of the stars registered as characters or as interest to me. I like Charlie Day. I would have rather liked to see more of the geek scientist and Ron Perlman than the people we were following mind melding their past. Ridiculous. I don't like that.
This movie about giant robots fighting giant monsters was ridiculous.
I'm saying it was poorly constructed.
I got a refresh on this one. I do like the movie. I wish I cared about the characters as much as I cared about watching the robots fight the monsters. But I mean, I don't know. I've seen a Transformers movie. This is much better than a Transformers.
It's better than the Transformers.
It's much more coherent. Yeah, but that bar.
Well, it's a LaBeouf-free zone, so right over the bat, we're looking better. Let's face it.
Yes, you got me there. It's better than the Transformers movies.
Again, that bar is set very low.
I really enjoyed
Eric, I do need to point out that what you said about Guillermo del Toro made that baby cry over there.
Oh, that's Zac Efron right over there. He looks even younger in person.
Well, the baby sees Blade 2.
All right, Sarah, you have listened to our esteemed critics talk at length about what they think about Guillermo del Toro, but you get 30 seconds to talk about Charlie Hunnam Sherlock's.
It took more than 30 seconds, I'm sorry.
God bless you.
But no, I think that's all I can say. I just want to know what they figured, because I know the movie is really like, people are at each other's throats for it, but I just really enjoyed it, so thank you guys.
Well, I'm glad you liked it too. I was so excited this morning in my hotel room, I got security called on me because I went, "We're canceling the apocalypse!" Hey, Sarah!
Thank you, Sarah.
Really rotten. I did not...
Twist!
I did not understand why we finally took a departure from just making the bad guy an evil version of Iron Man, but then had to add like 1,000 Iron Mans to make up for it. I didn't understand why the promotion for the movie raised the specter of Middle Eastern terrorism only to take one of the coolest villains in the Iron Man canon and make it a stoner joke with Ben Kingsley. And I definitely didn't understand why the thing that won the whole day was Gwyneth Paltrow in yoga pants with one part of the Iron Man armor on. Hey, there was like no part of that movie that made any sense.
I really liked Iron Man 3. I think you're right, the ending is what I like least about it, but it's kind of like when it came around, I had a little bit of Marvel Universe fatigue, and I kind of wanted a break from what we've been getting, and I thought Shane Black's script did a really great job. I loved that the middle section is Iron Man out of armor, in is it Georgia? It's Georgia, right? Yeah. You know, because I wasn't expecting that, and the thing with the Mandarin, I thought that was actually a really clever twist. You know, I was actually really kind of psyched to see Ben Kingsley as an awesome Mandarin, but it's kind of like a case where the Joss Whedon line about giving people what they need instead of what they want, you know, and I think that was a great case of that. So I liked it. Didn't like Iron Man 2 that much, though.
I agree. Yeah, two was the weak one. I liked it a lot as well. And, you know, main reason, of course, is Robert Downey Jr. You know, the alter ego, or in his case, the main guy. Tony Stark is, to me, the most interesting civilian. You know, Bruce Wayne is a stiff. Let's face it. You know, Peter Parker. You know, you look at almost all of Clark Kent. You know, but Tony Stark is such a fascinating character, and even the dynamic with the kid, where that can go sideways so easily. It was great when the kid told his sob story, and Tony Stark basically didn't give a shit. I mean, that was just
I mean, I just liked the movie too, but kind of for different reasons that you did. I'm not so beholden to the actual history of the Iron Man stuff, so with the Mandarin stuff, when that twist came, I thought it was kind of clever, but the problem is that they didn't do anything interesting with it. The idea behind that twist, there's a lot of fascinating areas to explore there, and then it just kind of gets dropped, like you said, it's just kind of a joke. And it had the same problem that Iron Man 2 did, in my opinion, that it had a more interesting villain, like Mickey Rourke as Whiplash, and then you know, it became like the businessman guy who became the less interesting villain. Guy Pearce is not as interesting. Sam Rockwell is not as interesting. You take Mickey Rourke in the second movie and you put him in a warehouse for an hour. What was that about? So the first Iron Man is good. The sequels are not good.
See, I'm not the biggest comic book movie person. I know like Batman and Superman and Spider-Man. Then my knowledge of comic book heroes that tends to like drop precipitously from that point. So so when I go into like Iron Man 3, I had no idea about what the Mandarin was or what it's supposed to represent. And it just, I mean, I was just kind of a little bored by them. It just seemed like like the first one was pretty good basically because of. Like the same, like how the first Batman was good because Nicholson was really, really good. But if you take Nicholson out, that movie is weak. It's like the first Iron Man. Downey is great, but if you take him out, then it's just kind of, more robot stuff. But the problem is that, by the third time around, I mean, the Downey performance, Downey being Flip is not as fresh as it was, and there's not really anything else to back it up except for, Rebecca Hall being very, very cute. So I was kind of bored with that one too. I mean, it's not, Lord knows it's not the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. I mean, probably wasn't the worst one I saw that week, but.
I have a quick question for the room. Who saw Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Yeah. If you haven't seen that one and you liked the fast talking elements in Iron Man 3. That's the movie that the whole movie is like that, right? Like I felt like there's a little bit of kiss kiss bang bang in Iron Man 3 and not
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
And furthermore, how dare you make fun of Gwyneth Paltrow's abs? She worked hard for them. Okay? How dare you? We can't be all as naturally good looking as you are. Final 30 seconds.
Yeah, I really like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark as well. I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. If you wanted to write a whole script that was Robert Downey Jr. in a Tony Stark movie where it was just him wheeling and dealing, that would be awesome. But don't take Iron Man and make it a Lethal Weapon movie. It's not going to work.
Iron Man 3 is certified.
Like I said, I just find it to be this blast of fun. It's really exhilarating. They have Viking racers. How can you not like a movie that's got a team of Viking racers? And you know, if you don't find the line, get that weak shit off my track. Sorry about the S word, but that just is fantastic. But underneath all the special effects and underneath all of the sort of spectacle, there's this really great little like family drama that you know talks about how important it is to be with your family and to have those bonds and strengthen those bonds, and then also to stand up for your principles and to sort of be the person that you think that you should be and that you want to be. And that's all in this movie that's just sort of, you know, a psychedelic blast of special effects. I think that's great.
Anybody disagree?
You got all that out of the Speed Racer movie? I can't wait to read your thesis on the Lego movie. Awesome. That's awesome. I agree with you about the visuals. I think that they were perfect, you know, but the rest of it, I just thought it kind of fell apart. The families. I prefer the original cartoons from like the 60s and 70s where every episode, what Speed doesn't know is that Racer X is really his older brother.
Spoiler! If they had that, that would have actually been the best dialogue in the movie. It's just basically a 2-hour-long migraine headache, quite frankly. And I like, you know, weird, loud, over-the-top, obnoxious stuff, but there's, you know, like 1941 is one of my favorite Spielberg movies. You know, that's where I'm from. So I have no problem with over-the-top. But there's over-the-top, and then there's, what? Stop it. Turn off!
Yeah, it really was kind of like an ice cream headache of a movie. I thought the family stuff was incredibly ponderous and boring, and just weighed down the film, and then, you know, the shiny stuff is like, why am I watching this sober? It's totally wasted on me. I think also Chim Chim the chimpanzee gives the best and most intelligent performance in the film. You know, and John Goodman's in it, and yeah, it's a whole lot of mess. And yeah, not a fan.
You described it as an explosion of fun, and I think they might have quoted you on the poster. Last 30 seconds?
Well, I will agree that it is a mess, but I think it's a mess in the best possible way. It's the mess that you get after you've spent a day just playing with a bunch of toys and they're thrown around and you've been exhausted because it's so much fun. That's where I'm coming from on this one. So.
Well, that's how your birthday was, too.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday.
No. Sure, you don't have a soul, great dragon.
I don't know if I want to say if I like it or not, but my movie is Star Wars Episode 3. And I'd like to see what the crowd's feeling. Wow, this is super mixed. Check that out. Well, you know, a lot of nerds hate a lot on just the general idea of the prequels. I don't know if they could have done it any way where everyone can hate it. But you guys are professional critics who, you know, they like movies and you obviously know a lot about them. So purely from a movie standpoint, I think it was a good movie. I think it had a plot you could follow and the characters you felt for. And I don't think the acting was anything. Ian McGregor's awesome. And Natalie Portman is certainly talented.
Your last name. I know it is. Panel?
Revenge of the Sith is a very fine movie. As again, a sort of an apologist for the Star Wars series in general, Revenge of the Sith is clearly, you pick the best of the prequels, so it's not going to be, you're not going to get too much of an argument on that one. If you would have gone Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, there would have been a little more going on. But no, Revenge of the Sith, you know, if you want to take the 3 best Star Wars movies, you go to Episode 3, 4, 5, right there. There's your trilogy.
Yeah, but you know, saying that's the best of the trilogy, we're talking about like the best episode of the movie.
Okay, Halloween 3.
All right, you can infuriate anyone.
I didn't say I didn't read the first, but I thought you meant Return of the Jedi.
Thank you, sir. Star Wars apologists, they rule.
It is at 80%, by the way. So.
My pants could also count as Star Wars apologists.
Man.
All right, Matt, your movie.
Okay, 300 Rise of an Empire, and the thing about it is, it's got
fresh or rotten.
It's fresh. It's fresh all the way.
Put that down, Richard.
I don't, and this is some of my pet peeves about critics and audiences in general. If you like the first one, I don't see why you wouldn't like the second one. And I know the first one isn't super fresh or anything, but it wasn't even in 3D. I mean, and that's, I know some people hate 3D, and that's the other thing I don't get, and maybe we can touch on that a little bit. 3D's not a gimmick. It's been around a few years, so now it's cool to hate on it. But it's getting better and better, and that movie in 3D is one of the best 3D movies I've seen. So.
Rise of an Empire, also featuring a really interesting hate sex scene.
Yeah, I will also say that the 3D in that movie is really incredible. The film itself is pretty terrible. And you're right, if you like 300, you will like this film as well. I thought 300 was abhorrent. It was one of those movies where I saw it in an audience and I feared for society. People were getting so excited that one of us was being, you know, like at some point there'd be like ritualistic sacrifice. I was worried about this film, and yeah, I did not care for the sequel anymore. But again, there are some amazing 3D shots. I saw it at the IMAX, and yeah, I'm like, holy moly, if the whole film were just like these 7 or 8 really cool shots, like it would be great. Instead, not happening. Those are my kind of people, by the way, the audience that do that. I love those droplets of blood and slow motion. As far as 3D goes, I don't know, I think most of the guys probably agree with me. The problem is it's really kind of like 2.5D, and you're right, it's been around for 50-some years, and we're still putting on the stupid glasses, and they almost, every 3D film, it almost seems like the director has forgotten it's 3D, and then all of a sudden they have to throw a shield at us, or a spear about 50 minutes into it, and then they, oh look, there's a mug in the back, in the foreground, you know, so it still hasn't gotten there.
No, I like the original 300 I like about as much as Nathan did. And the second one I hated too, with one exception. Ava Green's in it. It's like the word, and she's awesome in it. She's great. She is so entertaining. I mean, it's like, and you just wish if they had had any balls at all, they would have made the movie entirely about her character and forget like all these other oily dopes.
It's about drag queen performance, which I really liked. It kind of belonged on, you know, RuPaul Drag Race, as much as in a 300 movie.
Can you name any of the male actors in the movie?
I know,
you can't, can you?
All you do with that with male actors is basically all you do is do a nipple count. 437, by the way. Wow. This is the first one I can.
That one's at 42%.
42%. What's your name? We have another Matt. We have so many Matts in this room. What's your
I
movie?
approve of those names.
My movie actually got a fairly high tomato rating.
Don't try to bias that.
Well, I actually don't like it. It's Steven Soderbergh's The Limey.
Why don't you like it? Go fast.
Okay, I don't like it because in the very first, like, 4th or 3rd of it, the editing is really jarring, and I know what he's trying to do, but it takes so much away from the actors, and I really dislike that. Granted, it does get better when it goes on, especially in the party scene in the house. I really like that, you know, let's see, Peter Fonda's character died 3 times. But, you know, it's a movie that I think takes too much away from the actors, and it takes too much away from their performance, because it's like, let's do this interesting editing, and that's something I didn't like.
It's my favorite Soderbergh movie, and I love the editing. If it doesn't work for you, it's probably not the movie you want, but I mean, I feel like there's too many movies that are too conventional with editing, and I love what he does in that. And the fact that you know, Soderbergh, what I like about it is he lets you know you're watching a movie, and that's one where you're very much watching something that can only take place in the medium of the film, and I love what he's drawing from, and I don't know, we should probably check out a movie called Point Blank, which is sort of a big inspiration for that. Have you seen it? Check it out. It's like that, but even more extreme, but you know, you kind of owe it yourself to at least like give it a chance.
Terrence Stamp is going to come find you, bro.
Entire cast of Inception. But so many things in that movie made no sense. Let's put all the cops in the city down in a hole so they can't get out. Right? Let's have you know, the biggest, you know, basically New York, right? Get like taken over by terrorists, and the army just let them sit there. And but the worst plot hole I found was Bruce Wayne is in this prison, right, where he has to climb out of this hole, whatever, and he can't get out, right? And he has to go like another 20 feet. Make a grappling hook. You're freaking Batman.
I sense that you could go on long past the 30 seconds.
The worst thing, they moved Gotham City from Chicago to Pittsburgh. Come on.
Well, you can blame that on the Transformers franchise when they were taking over Michigan Avenue. That's what that was.
When people start twice there. When people start talking plot holes in comic book movies, especially one that is really trying to be more than a comic book movie, my hackles get raised up a little bit. I know, everyone sort of came down on Dark Knight. So few people came down on Dark Knight Rises after the Dark Knight, and to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yes, it's a little bit longer than Dark Knight, but there are so many ideas that are inherent, not just in that film, but that Nolan is paying off in that entire series. I adore Nolan's Batman franchise. I think it's the best comic book franchise that we've had, bar none. Yes. And I said, it's a film, it's a trilogy, a self-contained trilogy that Nolan was really trying to go for something more than just your standard effects and stuff. And there are so many ideas and so many things that we can't even talk about now in 30 seconds. So I completely disagree with you, sir.
My only response to you is.
Great. We have the super fast lightning round, so I want everybody to give one sentence as to whether or not about their movie and whether or not they like it, and we'll get a really fast rebuttal from the critics, so we can get through everybody.
Spring Breakers, too many tits, not likable characters, and it's really shallow, and I don't understand why all the critics gave it an A.
Because of that.
Listen to all your shit!
Only one of them actually, well, no, never mind.
You got it. Why fresh? Why?
Go watch that shit on repeat.
I got shorts.
James Franco's performance was epic.
Smell nice.
I like the overwhelmingness of it. I think it's a better, of last year's satires of excess. It's not as good as Wolf of Wall Street, but it's better than Pain and Gain. Not that it says that much, but I thought the over-the-topness really worked for it.
All right, girl, get a gold grill.
It is jingoism done right because you actually care about the color workers, especially for Bruce Willis is incredibly heroic and very likable. I want you to be my father.
I was rooting for the asteroid.
For me, it's a load, but it's a good load, except, for the animal crackers scene. But like I said, if Michael Bay's going to make the biggest, dumbest movie ever made, he'd make it a little more fun like that one as opposed to, Bad Boys and something like that. So I kind of like it. Like I said, between that and Deep Impact, I prefer, Armageddon because both those movies are incredibly stupid. But the problem is that Deep Impact thinks that it's smart, which makes it even worse, whereas Armageddon is like unapologetically fender-headed, idiotic, and I do like it for that.
And a lot of people sing that song in this panel where they're like, I don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah, that's a great closing credits. Also, that is a key movie in the evolution of Ben Affleck's dental work. You got it.
Hi, my name's Chris.